All right, we're good.
Coming to you live from Town Hall, now, the
Good
Council on
afternoon.
Aging meeting.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. Good to see you here. Roseanne is filling in as our secretary, and we feel pretty comfortable that she's coming. So if anybody can just jot down a couple of little things, the announcements maybe, until she gets here, then we could move on, if that's okay. But we do have a quorum. We have Tina present as a guest, and we may not have anyone here from the Friends because they're either busy attending to family commitments or returning from trips or whatever, but we do have their report to go over, just so you have a sense of that. And just a reminder that this is an open meeting, and we must abide by the laws that govern open meetings. So, moving on, do we have any announcements? No. Bob Stetson is not here today, and that we knew, and that's why Roseanne had agreed at our last meeting she would be our secretary and take minutes. So, otherwise, we're full. Yes, Patty?
Well, I will say that Mary Catalano, and Bob and I did go to training in Clinton on April 26th. Well done. 4 members from the Friends also went to the training.
Great.
So that was good representation. I'll also say that the Housing Subcommittee met. Also, just thought we should let you know that we did meet on May the 3rd, I think it was. And I subsequently had a follow-up meeting on May the 5th with Lisa Larrabee from the Housing Authority. I have a report, but it's not quite finished yet. But
When the subcommittee gets together and you can include that in their report to us then?
I am.
Yep.
I mean, it's fairly drafted. I did send it to Pam.
Okay.
But it was a good, productive meeting with Lisa. And the one thing I wanted to bring out of that meeting was that I did bring up to her that we were looking to have a representative from the Council of Aging sit in on Housing Authority meetings, and she's very receptive to that.
Okay. So when your subcommittee prepares your report for this group, then we should bring it up then and see if we can find somebody to do that.
Yeah. They do meet on the first Wednesday of every month, which would be June 1st, which would be before our next meeting. And I didn't know whether or not you wanted to entertain talking about whether somebody might just want to go to the meeting.
Well, that's more than an announcement to entertain that. It's a discussion. Here's Roseanne.
Whatever.
Oh, welcome.
I may just go to the meeting and sit in. I just thought I would let you know.
Okay, that'd be good. And then we can get it organized. So,
But it
that would be
was
fine.
A nice, productive meeting.
I wanted to add to what she was saying. I attended with Bob that Clinton training session, and it was very informative, and Emmett was very happy when I pointed out each town gave their accomplishments. And when I mentioned that Patty had gotten senior parking down at the local school, he thought that was pretty great. You don't remember, do you?
Yes, I do.
You do. Also, I mentioned that I do the newsletters, or was doing the broadcasters from the different surrounding towns to see what the other COAs are doing, and he just leaped on that and thought it was a great idea that all the towns should be aware of what the others were doing. We had a good representative, and all the other towns did well also.
Just to piggyback on that, I've had some great feedback from that meeting. Everybody felt it was a great meeting.
Yes, it was, very nice.
Okay, welcome, Roseanne. I'm very glad you're here.
More than you know.
Yes, I'd already said, we knew you were coming, but, I said, so take notes until she gets here, somebody. So, and I have a couple of announcements. Does anybody else have any before I move on? No? Okay, one is, just again, another reminder about the neighborhood suppers have resumed. Attendance is increasing, but I want to get the word out there. They're every Tuesday night, sponsored by the Council of Churches in town. It's free, a free meal, and the meals are usually very, very good. It's at 5:30. Thank you, Mary. And generally, you know, that's when they begin serving. So each church takes a week of the month on a Tuesday night and prepares the meal. So it's always a different menu, and it's very social. So
Do they take donations?
they certainly do. If you would like to, you would make it, if you wanted to contribute to the Council of Churches. It's not to just one church, but to
Can
the
you
council.
specify neighborhood supper?
Right, you could specify neighborhood supper, and then it would get to the...
Is there like a box for money?
Not there.
No, not there, but you could give, you know, a check to somebody there, I'm sure they would get it.
They
No?
usually won't. They like them to be mailed to their P.O. box at the Littleton
Oh.
Council of Churches, is what I was told before. It might
Okay,
have
thank you.
changed.
No, I didn't realize that, Tina, thank you, but I don't know the P.O. box.
What's the box number?
I don't know it off the top of my head. I'll look it up and get
Okay.
it to you,
Okay.
okay? Thanks.
We'll get that out, the post office box for
Okay.
them.
Okay.
And another announcement is that just a reminder also, since the senior diner is open, the ladies' breakfast and the men's breakfast have resumed. So please count on getting up early to be in the senior diner on the second Thursday of the month. Is the ladies' breakfast at 8, opens at 8.
7:30.
7:30, sorry. I get there at 8, that's why I have 8 in the brain. But 7:30, it's a great opportunity and a great breakfast. It's usually a good time. And then the men's breakfasts have resumed also, and theirs are the third Wednesday of the month at 7:30. Now, there's just one little change, because in July and August, the men and women's breakfast will be combined because of the two, summer months and people away, et cetera, et cetera. So, but for June, plan on going to the ladies' breakfast on Thursday morning. And then after that, for 2 months, go on Wednesday mornings.
And
men
men's breakfast
women's
is day after tomorrow.
That's right, and the men's breakfast for this month is the day after tomorrow.
And the
So-
Veterans Breakfast starts this month?
Thank you, you just took the words right out of my mouth. Go ahead, finish it, Barbara.
25th.
Right into the microphone.
A breakfast for just veterans will be on, is it May 25th?
Yeah.
Yeah, starting this, May 25th. And it's, do you plan to have programs or speakers at some time?
At some point, the
Yeah.
veterans agent would like to start having programs. Right now, the Littleton Police Department are doing the cooking and the serving. It's going to be the fourth Wednesday of every month. And as I said, John Borowski has said that at some point in the future, he'd like to have speakers come in and things like that. But right now, it's just for eating. And it's free for veterans, and it's open to, I talked with the police chief, it's open to any veterans in the area, not just Littleton residents.
So that makes it even more appealing, because you can, kind of, there's a camaraderie between vets, certainly.
And you don't have to be a senior to attend.
No. All veterans. All right, I think that covers one other announcement. In your packet, you have the letter that went to Diane approving our downsizing the board from 11 to 9 members. And unfortunately, we didn't realize that this had been received, so we canceled our meeting last Monday because we did not know this had happened, and we didn't think we had a quorum. So I apologize for that. We could have held the meeting, because we would have had a quorum if we had realized that. Yep, so that's this letter in your packet, just so you know what it is. And so now our board size is legally 9 members.
If we could be sure to get that in the minutes.
Okay, I think that's the last announcement from me. Anyone else? Ken, do you have anything?
I'm good.
You're good. All right, let's move on. Can I have a motion to accept the minutes unless there are changes and suggestions, recommendations?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. No abstentions or nays. And the Friends report, as we said, as I announced, the Friends are, just timing is off for them because they've got some issues they have to take care of. So we can take a quick look at their minutes of their April meeting here, which gives us an idea of things.
And there's two items I want to bring to everyone's attention. Originally, the volunteer luncheon for the volunteers to the COA was going to be in May. That has been shifted to June. And the June event for the Friends, which was the fashion show, has been shifted to the fall.
Oh, do you know the date in June for the luncheon?
June 15th. It's in the minutes, June 15th.
Okay, because I know one was Monday and the other one followed it. Okay, now you're saying that changing it to the fall, the fashion show.
Yes,
What's
Okay,
in the fall, Pam?
the fashion show.
okay.
Fashion show.
And they said they had nothing planned for July and August. I don't know if that means that they have nothing planned or they plan to do nothing. But I do want to point out that in August, we always traditionally have our legislators barbecue. So that will definitely be happening. And in July, we will have two barbecues, one with the fire department and one with the police department hosting. But they will be here in this building since now the diner's open.
So mark your calendars, everyone, get to these barbecues, they're great.
Do we know the dates at all? Not yet, not for the July ones.
And does anyone have anything to add on behalf of the Friends?
The Friends will send out invitations for the volunteer luncheon, right?
Yes, it's by invitation. And the criteria is 50 hours of service in a year, of volunteer service in a year. Please be clear, senior tax workers are not volunteers unless they continue to volunteer beyond the period of their senior tax work. For their senior tax work, they're paid. They're paid town employees.
Is there anyone we report to if we accept the invitation so that they?
I believe it says right there on the invitation who to
Yeah,
RSVP to.
good, good.
Always has.
And generally, the board is invited to attend that.
Yeah, good.
So mark your calendars so that you can be free anytime.
And this is one of those events where it's a courtesy to the Friends to let them know if you're not coming, because they will be holding seats for all the board members. And that will let them to give up the
Right.
seats and reorganize things if you're not going to be there.
Anything else on behalf of the Friends? We can't speak legitimately for them, but we do know a little bit about what's going on. Great. Let's move on to old business. And the first item is I always don't know how to pronounce this, China 15 grant opportunity.
So I circulated to everyone by email the 18-page application that was created for that grant. They asked me to mail in 5 copies, so I know there are at least 5, if not 6, reviewers, and I've not heard back from them yet. But as I mentioned before, there are only 3 towns that were invited to participate. There are for sure 2 $20,000 grants, and the last time they had 3 towns, they told me they actually awarded $20,000 to all 3 towns because all 3 applications were outstanding. My thanks to Jan Stewart, a Littleton resident and a member of the steering committee at Chenal, who helped me greatly with making sure that our grant was comprehensible and spoke to the principles of healthy communities that they're trying to uphold.
Is that the 18-page one you did?
Yes, that's the 18-page one that I mailed out to everyone. Yeah.
Right, number 4 and 18, I remember.
I must say, there's a lot of work that goes
It
into those
was, I was
grants.
amazed.
I was reading it, you know,
Yes.
and I'm like, wow.
When you got all that time to compile it.
So, maybe.
I think it was you, Mary, that asked me if I had somebody to write grants for me.
I remember that,
Do you remember the answer?
yes.
I do. Me.
She doesn't have anyone to do it for her. And actually, that's a hard thing, I think, because you need to have a lot of background and information, and so it's hard for somebody else to just pick it up and do it, I think.
And paraphrasing it is very important.
So, but it's very exciting, I think. Pam's done a great job.
Thank you.
All right, any questions? Any additional questions for Pam? No? Then we'll move on to item B. And item B, Jean, I think we mentioned it at our last meeting.
We did, yeah.
Yes, has agreed to be our representative for the town of Littleton at Minuteman and attend their monthly meetings. However, and she's already attended two meetings.
Bedford, is it?
Yeah. But we have to appoint her officially for her to be official. So that's our next order of business. I would love to entertain a motion to, or I guess I don't have to have.
You can take over if you'd like.
All right.
Wonderful, I'm sure.
Yes, go ahead and you can make a motion to approve.
I move that the board approve Jean Johnson as our representative to Minuteman Services. Second.
Seconded by Patty. All those in favor?
Aye.
Nays and abstentions? None. So it's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. Yes, I thank you very much. That's great, especially having a board member, because we will get the feedback directly, here, and everybody will get it, Pam, Tina, so I think it's great. So thank you very much. All right. Any questions or any additional discussion about that? See, told you we're going to get out early, Susan. Moving on to old business item C.
Which is old business.
Really old.
Right. I was going back over minutes, and I discovered that in 2013 and in 2015, although we received the gifts from the friends of the two TVs, the one that's in room 230 and the one that's in 233, and the cabinetry in 233, we never voted to accept them. This board never voted to accept them.
Naughty, we blew it. It's a little technicality, but we should have done that, so we need to correct that.
I remember the original TV that was donated to 233 was removed by
The
an
really big
unknown, somebody took it. Ida Bradbury donated to the COA in memory of her mother. Somebody came in and stole it and walked off with it. And the police, I think, or the fire department replaced it with another one. Yeah, way back then.
It's a long time.
Well, it's really nice that these new ones are attached to the wall.
A little bit harder to remove instantaneously.
I move that we accept these gifts from the COA, from the Friends of the COA, dating back to 2013.
Do you remember Ida?
2013.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Oh, yeah, she was good.
All right. Second, thank you, Jean. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Unanimous again. Thank you all.
It's the only housekeeping I'm going to do this week.
Pass that word now, get that around. All right, moving on to new business. The first item is a vote. We need to vote to accept $1,000. What a terrible way to have to consider voting, huh, to accepting $1,000. Accepting $1,000 from the MCOA to fund a 12-week Falls Prevention Program. Pam.
So you're going to see this twice. First, there is this gift of $1,000, which is in this fiscal year. This was the grant that MCOA asked us to apply for, which is paying for the Brains and Balance program, or partially underwriting the Brains and Balance program. And then there is a promise from them, if the money that they expect does come through for the next fiscal year, of another $1,000 or $2,000 to more fully fund the entire 12-week series. So as with all gifts, we have to vote to accept those. And I should tell you that we are 4 sessions into Brains and Balance, and everyone loves it.
I see big smiles down there for two people
What do
that
they
are attending.
do? Is more than speech, isn't it?
Oh, it's
Oh.
more about balance. It's
Balance.
about doing tandem walking and tandem standing, and we do exercises to help with your balance. And then she sort of does it in 15-minute segments. You do physical balance work for 15 minutes, and then you do 15 minutes of sort of brain exercises or drills. And I really think it's to give us a break so you stop sweating for 15 minutes and then you go back to sweating. But I have a painter's tape in my foyer to do the tandem walking because it's on Thursday and Friday, so if you don't practice, that's a lot of days. And I feel better already, and one of the simplest things that you kind of forget about is the standing up, shoulders back, tightening your core. And if you just walk that way, there's some sort of internal connection to your brain where you feel more stable. So just that has been helpful for me. I only got to do 2 because I was sick last week, but I'm looking forward to going back.
Sounds interesting.
And I would add to that, Susan, that the Brains and Balance program, of which Holly Kuvo is a certified practitioner, is a neurologically based, evidence-based program. That means that they've actually done studies, they started people, pre-tested them, ran them through the program, and post-tested them. And there is a neurological connection between doing the physical stuff and then doing the cognitive stuff, then going back to doing the physical stuff. There's a connection both ways. The physical stuff makes you better at the mental cognition things, and the cognitive work helps you to get more focused and centered on being able to do the physical thing. So there really is a neurological basis for it.
I've heard good things about that
It
program.
really is wonderful.
It's on Wednesdays and Fridays, correct?
No, Thursdays and
Thursdays and
Fridays.
Fridays. And I can't attend Fridays, so I haven't been attending. But it's-
Mary's in the program.
Mary
Right.
does it.
Yeah, I've been twice. I didn't go the first week because I was sick, but, yes, I really am not a ballerina, and I'm not a walker who walks on a straight line. But it's very interesting.
Well, most of us couldn't sort of,
Yeah,
even those that you think are very spry and trim and everything, I thought it's because my thighs are too fat. But just in,
Challenge.
it's just in, from one to the next, you were so much better. The challenge is walking backwards tandem.
Oh, I guess.
we haven't started that yet.
Oh,
That would be a challenge,
Do
yes.
they mention walking around the house in your bed slippers and running up and down stairs and almost breaking your neck?
no,
She
they,
didn't mention anything about that yet.
she suggests you wear shoes that are supportive. She did. She pointed out people the first day who had
Not
on
slides.
Yeah.
Yeah, they pointed one out on our time, too.
flip-flops. Don't do it.
How many go to the class?
17 signed
Yeah,
up.
they have 17 signed up, but usually it's about 14, 15, something like that.
That's great.
And there are 2 men.
Yeah.
Great, that's a great turnout, I think. All right. Any more discussion about that? Well, we're feeling a little envious that I can't get there.
We need to
Sounds
have a
good.
motion
Come in
to
for
vote.
Thursday.
We do. I'm ready to accept a motion if you're
We-
done discussing.
We move to accept the $1,000 from MCOA to fund the falls prevention program.
I second.
Mary got in there on Gina. All those in favor?
Aye.
A unanimous vote again.
And for those who missed it, I'm going to invite Holly back in the fall to run another series,
Great.
because it has been so well received, and
Has
it
been.
so clearly is helpful for people. Even though we're just at the beginning of week 3, we're already seeing improvement.
Yeah.
It's very exciting. Okay, moving on. It's that time of year again, folks, where we need to appoint a nominating committee so that we can elect officers at our June meeting. And we need 3 people. I need 3 people to step forward. I'll correct
I
that.
think we should postpone it till Bob comes back, don't you?
We don't have that liberty, Mary, we can't.
Oh,
Okay,
I'll be on it again.
Susan Dunn?
It'd be a chance for you, Mary, to step up to the plate.
well, it was your idea. I'll second it for you.
I didn't hear her say she was going to do it. She suggested you do it.
What are you,
Committee,
which one are you talking about?
The
lady?
nominating
Nomination.
committee.
Oh, all right, I'll be on that.
Oh, okay.
Mary C., Susan Dunn, and we need one more. Jean Johnson, thank you. All right.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do, but I'll do it.
None of us do.
Now you know how I feel.
I think, Susan, you served on it.
Yes, last year, but Patty did most of the work.
I'm sure Patty would help you with,
I know!
I'll send you the form.
Okay.
Yes, help us out.
all right, I am appointing then. We don't have to vote on that, do I? I can appoint them.
No, you appoint.
Yeah. So, did you get that, Roseanne? Thank you kindly. And thank you all for stepping up so willingly.
Is
And
that 3 people or 4? I only have 3.
That's all it
three.
is.
That's all.
That's all it is.
Okay.
3. That's, boy, that was pretty easy, folks. That's really nice. Thank you.
And June is what is considered our annual meeting?
Correct. And officers, new officers, I would assume their position in July. We don't have a meeting in July.
They assume a
August.
position at the end of that meeting.
At the end of that meeting, correct. So that, if we don't have a meeting in July, but you're still the responsible person, the chair would be the responsible person that Pam would communicate with if there was a need. So, I must say, it's been pretty easy. There's not been a huge need to do a lot of, unplanned types of communication, really.
Mm-hmm.
So,
How do you, as a clue, you were on it, you said, do you contact these people? How,
she can talk to you a little bit about that.
that? With the,
I can send you the email that I sent to everybody last year.
okay,
It's very simple. You just send an
Okay.
email to everybody
That's why I went.
and ask if they want to volunteer themselves, or would anybody else like to volunteer for the position.
Oh, we didn't have-
I will tell you that Bob's already said yes.
oh, that was important.
Independence.
That was
Okay, well, we'll have
important.
to wait until she sends us information.
You'll get it in the mail. I'll send it to the 3 of you.
Thank you so much, Patty.
Yeah, that would be good.
Well, we can talk about it when Bob's here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you all.
You're welcome.
All right,
My
item
apologies
C,
on
well,
that.
that's okay, I didn't realize it either, so we both kind of blew it, but item C, the senior independence policy, just let me explain a little. At Emmett's program that so many people attended and came back feeling that it was a good program, he apparently presented or I guess it was not Emmett himself that presented this, but one of the people attending, I forget which town it was. Anyway, there was an incident in the Council on Aging where a daughter of a senior citizen, a female, was dropping her mother off to the COA, to the center, every morning to leave her there while she went to work. And they had nothing in place to fall back on to deal with something like this. So she then put together, I guess it was probably, somebody at the group of people, the COA, put together a policy. And she brought that to the meeting, and it was distributed to the members. Am I summing this up? You, Mary, you were there, and Patty, and who else?
I don't remember all of that, but yes, I
Yeah.
remember the story.
So anyway, and Bob Stetson brought that back to me and really recommended that we bring it up at our meeting, and we were going to make a copy of it. That's why Pam and I both blew it. We didn't get the copy in your minutes. So we need to look at that. I just will throw it out there for you, and perhaps there's a reason why everything happens. Maybe Bob needs to be here when we are discussing it, and he's not here today. So,
And I will distribute it by email, so everyone will have a chance to see it
Right.
before the next meeting.
But what is its purpose?
the purpose is to have something in place, so that if somebody should do that here, a woman, or somebody, if a gentleman brings his mother, drops her off, takes off for the day, and then comes back to get her at 4 o'clock, we're not responsible for caring for people all day long.
Who are not independent.
Who are not
That's the whole key
independent.
to it. They were, as I understand it, they were dropping someone off who couldn't independently toilet themselves,
Is that what you're talking about?
to say nothing of
That looks like it.
competence.
Is that it?
I think it is.
Do we have a policy in effect?
Right.
If someone, an incident happened,
Is that it?
the council had a bus trip return, and as the people were unloading, one of them, who was a Westford resident, fell, and I think she broke her teeth. And I wondered if we had something in the file, or how is that covered? Does the town cover the medical expenses?
Can I speak to that?
Yes, you can.
There is a policy in place on what's called an incident. It can be an incident with a staff member, it can be an incident with a visitor, with a volunteer. Falls are a typical example of the incident. So there is a town policy in place, there's a form that is filled out. In fact, we had an incident last week in the social club of someone who passed out and required medical attention. So the procedure, I have a written policy, which I can distribute to all of you, of how you are supposed to handle any kind of an incident. And then there's also this form, which is filled out. It goes to the Board of Selectmen, and also a copy goes to me and has to be filled out by a staff person, even if the staff person didn't witness the event.
Bergman doesn't get one?
The Board of Selectmen's office is Keith Bergman's office.
Oh, okay,
It's the office next door, that's why I'm pointing next door.
okay.
Right. In terms of payment for medical expenses or things like that, part of the reason that we send the incident report is because then that office sends it on to our attorneys and to our insurance provider. And actually, I think it was last year, we had an incident of someone falling in the parking lot, and then they close the loop by getting back to that person, and they manage the business about paying for any medical expenses, et cetera.
Okay.
So I would definitely send that policy.
Along with this other one.
And the other one, by the way, is a proposed policy, but the
Right.
policy I'm going to send you about incidents is the existing policy, department policy.
And the policy that we're talking about, perhaps proposing for this town, or having something prepared, would give Pam something to fall back on. You know, she could say then, look, it is the policy of the Council on Aging that, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we just need to look at that maybe and put our heads together and think about it. So when she sends that one that is the sample that came as a result of Emmett's meeting, take a look at it, and why don't we put that on our agenda for next month then? I think that's the best thing to do, and
Yep.
probably it's better because it gives you a chance to read it and to think about it a little bit before we start discussing it too. But it seemed as though there's a need. We don't have anything in place either.
I imagine the bus companies must have something to cover themselves also.
That's why you get the lawyers involved and the insurance
Yeah.
companies to figure out who has the liability.
Out of business always, if somebody is fallen and is injured, of course, you get them the medical help that they need, and then you
Right.
go from there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but we need, you know, it would behoove us, I think, to maybe help Pam, or suggest to Pam that we get something like that in place to help her along the way in case it ever happened. It could happen very easily.
Now, you're talking about the
The
independent policy.
the less than independent person who was dropped off to
Right.
spend the day, you know.
Yeah.
So,
We haven't had that issue, and I'm sure that the reason it came up with that COA was because they did have the issue.
yeah. So, and Bob felt very strongly about it. In fact, I think he mentioned it to me separately and then to Pam also, that he brought back the sample policy that this particular COA had developed. So,
So I'll put that on the June agenda.
Yep.
And I'll make sure everybody gets a copy so they can review it in
okay.
advance.
So that's item C. Okay, and item D and E kind of go together in a way. Item D is discussion, a goal discussion regarding, remember, we came up with 4 goals for the year, and we've addressed 3 of them, and the 4th is additional space for the COA. So I'm going to kind of, maybe, I hope I don't confuse you, but I'm going to address E, because the Friends have requested that we have a joint meeting, special meeting, it wouldn't be our regular monthly meeting, to sit down and just discuss, ideas for additional space, because that's something they're very interested in and would like to work with the COA on. So we have set that meeting up at the moment. It appears that it will be on June 6th. And I don't know the time yet. It'll be somewhere
Where do they-
around lunchtime.
Where do you Friends hold their meetings?
We will be holding the meeting, probably, we have to find the room, which room is available at that
Oh,
time. This will
okay.
be,
This is not their Friends meeting.
no, it's our meeting
It's a
with,
joint meeting.
with the Friends.
But we won't be following open meeting law.
Well, yes,
Is that
it will be
correct?
like
Yes, we will
having a
have to-
subcommittee
We
meeting.
will.
If we have a quorum present, we have to follow open meeting law.
And it would be similar to having a subcommittee meeting, and you serve on subcommittees. It's not that formal, but it is, your subcommittee meetings are open meetings,
Right.
and anyone can attend, and it does get posted. But it will not be our regular monthly meeting as this
And it
is,
won't be
televised.
televised.
No.
Yeah.
So, mark your calendars, though, because this is a very, I think, interesting discussion, and all of us have, a lot of ideas and thoughts about it. Not that we're going to solve that problem of additional space immediately, but it's a good thing that we know that. We know it's going to take time. It would be good to sit down and toss ideas around together, the 2 groups.
Who can go?
You,
Everybody can go?
the council members, and the Friends members. And it's
The
an open
date is
meeting.
what?
Anyone else that wants to attend, but we are,
It's not just a representative and one other.
no.
What is the date again?
Right now, June 6th. It'll probably be around lunchtime, or I would guess somewhere in that area. But we'll get the information out. But the Friends have, as I said, they've been scattered on vacation and other things happening, so we haven't quite set everything up yet. But we still have time to confirm it all and get the word out to you. So don't be surprised when you do hear about that. But in the meantime, we need to toss around how we want to deal with this idea of additional space for the COA as a board.
Well, in the past, may I add, we brought it up, and it was not passed, and it would cost $5 million for a new senior center. And in the recent news, Wellesley is going to town to vote for a senior center, and their proposed amount would be $6 million. So senior centers are going to be a big issue.
Well, right, and we may have some opportunities that are coming forth in this town that we don't know. But that's why we need to get together, and everybody has knowledge and awareness and thoughts, and so we need to just start communicating about it. And as a board, though, I'm asking you, do you want to, have appoint a subcommittee for that? We have subcommittees now for the other 3 areas, if I'm not mistaken, don't we? I believe so.
Housing awareness and what's the other one?
Membership.
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 Oh, membership.
And we didn't do anything with transportation, per se. We didn't establish a subcommittee for that.
And I do have some information about space that I would like to share with the whole, this whole board,
Oh.
regardless of whether you go with a subcommittee or not.
Okay, share. You want to share it now?
Well, I don't know if the rest of you have any comment to make, but I would assume that you all agree that we do need more space. There are peak times when we are extremely busy. One way to look at what we're doing is that we provide a service to people, and you can't stockpile that. So it does me no good that room 230 and 233 are empty from 9 p.m. until 8 o'clock in the morning. That doesn't help me at all with the fact that during the daytime, there's often real juggling that has to be done to find space for all the things that are going on at the same time. I consider that to be a happy problem, that people like what we're doing and they sign up and they come forward and that we're able to offer a variety of things for people. The subject of space has been a discussion for quite a while. I've been talking with Keith about it, and I wanted to share with you a couple of meetings that I was in. I should first point out that we are literally quite invested in this building. The town gave us $140,000 to renovate our kitchen and bring it up to code. And I would be loath to turn my back on that and say we need to build a senior center, for example. I don't think that's probably a realistic goal. There are no state programs, for example, that would give us matching funding to build a senior center. Those of you who are involved with town politics and followed town meeting recognize that a senior center would have to come behind firehouse,
Way down.
and who knows what other kinds of things.
Way down.
So I was very interested when I was invited to a meeting with Keith Bergman, the town administrator, Sam Alvarez, who heads up the library, one of his trustees, Park and Rec, and one of the Park and Rec trustees, and Kelly Clinchy, who's the superintendent from the schools. And that whole meeting was to talk about the proposal for the library. The library proposal is in a different position than we are. There is state funding that offers, I believe it's a 40% reimbursement for building a new library. So that puts them in a better position financially to put forward a proposal. The point of the meeting was to talk about if the library were to move out of this building, how we might reconfigure this building to give everyone who remains more space. And I don't know how familiar you are with the library, but there are 3 floors there. There's quite a bit of space there. And the request was made, and it appears that it's going to be part of the proposal with the library, to actually hire a consultant who would look at the space in this building and help to reconfigure this space to make what I would like to have, more space for us, obviously, but also more space for Park and Rec, and more space. The school department is very cramped on the 3rd floor. I think that's probably the most viable proposal for us to get space. I know we've talked about, wouldn't it be great if we could get Indian Hill? I don't know when that property is going to become available. I don't know what it's going to cost. I don't know what's happening with that, but I do know that the library proposal is going forward. What each of you can do to support more space for us, in my opinion, is to support the library proposal, that they build a new building and vacate this space.
What would the timeline be for that?
They're talking 2017, I believe, for the planning.
And then,
I've
Couple
solved
years,
the
maybe.
problem. The library goes out, Park and Rec goes over there, and we go downstairs. We have the whole end of the building.
I would love to have the whole end of the
Isn't
building.
that nice?
I would
Hold
love to
on,
have the whole end.
thanks.
In this meeting, Keith, for example, said that he would like to see a portion of that space be fitted specifically to be a meeting room for like Board of Selectmen and the various boards that draw a crowd, planning board and what have you. And he said in the meeting, and then 103 could be used by the seniors. So he's definitely thinking about, it's apparent to everyone that we need more space. The reason I suggest that you support the library proposal, though, is because some people, I don't think, see the connection between, if you support the library proposal, it opens up space here,
Yeah.
which gives us space. I think some people don't see that connection.
do you control the calendar for the multipurpose room, or does Park and Rec?
Park and Rec has traditionally controlled the calendar. Right now, they're in the process of transitioning it to make it an open calendar.
So
it
when
would
we
be
have
first come,
things
first
in the
serve.
in the multipurpose room, you go to Park and Rec and try to block out the time?
Right. And that's worked fairly well. Sharon Martell is easy to work with. There have been times when we've had to clear out things. The Friends are going to do something, and on a Wednesday, they need the entire day, so we move the yoga class or things like that.
It's amazing what is accomplished, I think, given.
Yes, with limited
With what we have,
space.
that's
Yeah.
exactly right. And it's
Yeah.
very nice to know, I think, that the library there can be funding obtained from the state towards the cost of building a new library.
That's the beauty of it.
That is nice.
One of the proposals that was on the table was to just temporarily move the library and rebuild that end of the building. There is no reimbursement available for rebuilding. There's only reimbursement for a new building.
If you stop on the way out, if you have time, stop in the front entrance to the library, and they have a beautiful plan, picture of what the proposed library would be, and the three choices and the amounts of how much it would cost, and to do a new building, or to renovate this building, or to, I don't know what else, but it's all right there in black and white to see. It's really worth looking at.
How receptive are the citizens of Littleton to building something else and putting that kind of money out? Does
Well,
Keith
I
have
think
a feel for
I think
that?
they're much more receptive to a library where you get 50% reimbursement
Donated
than they
to the
are to a
library.
COA. I don't think there's any stomach in town for putting tax money into a $6 million council on aging building.
Did you all see the article in the Sunday paper about the seniors community center in, was it Wayland? It was one of the towns, and it was a huge thing about just what Emmett talks about, the aging of our populace. And it was very interesting, and it was 2-3 pages in the flow.
I mean, Emmett's talked a lot about that community center concept, I know, because it draws in other people in with seniors in a way, like a fitness room type of thing, will draw in middle-aged people. And, if there was enough space, you never know, you could have one built, here, who knows?
Well, I think
Was looking
space
at
in
that.
this building is the much more practical
Oh, yeah.
aspect.
I think that's a
Central
good way to
location.
put it, the practical
It is.
aspect.
Yeah. I mean,
Practical and
it's doable. We can see doing that. It's just, the timeline is so far out there and our needs are so sort of immediate.
But the timeline would be far out for anything, I think, at this point, even a new building. If we had somebody give us $5 million, I mean, you have to get land, and then you have to deal with all of the other details.
I was
and
thinking 5 million isn't going to come close to building anything.
Probably not anything that would be, so, yeah, it's not feasible, really, I think, right now in this town.
The other interesting thing is that one of the proposed sites for a new library building is over where the tennis courts are currently. And I saw a plan that showed that and then showed the parking lot enlarged. And we had a discussion about the idea that then makes this place a destination. And that's part of the reason that I like having the Council on Aging in Town Hall, is that this becomes a spot where a person can either come by van or come by car, drop their car, and then do a variety of things. They can go to the library, they can hit the town clerk's office, they can come down to Council on Aging, get their blood pressure done, go down to the diner, get lunch, do whatever it is that people want to do. And having the library here just enlarges that sense of a destination.
And isn't there a thought
The
about a
housing
computer
is
room?
just across the street. The housing is
Right.
No, it's on the same side of the
Same
street,
side
it's
of
just down the street.
Not too far, and the computer
nearby.
piece of it.
Yeah, in the plan that I saw, I don't know if you focused in on this, Barbara, but they had a nice-sized computer room there. And, we have a lot of seniors who come to the library to use the computers. It just was a really lovely idea to have more space. And just in case anyone doesn't know, the problem we have at this end of the building is this was built as a school, not as a library, and books are very heavy. And you can only support so many books on the floors that we have, and that's why they can't expand their collection at all with the current space that we have. That's where the idea came in of renovation. But no reimbursement for renovation.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Susan. I think that if we tried to put a proposal out there for a community center or a council on aging, that we would be behind a lot of other capital projects that are expensive.
And that really would take priority over
Yeah, I
the
think-
senior
I
center,
think-
unfortunately, but,
Well, we know that the fire station's going to be
yeah.
The next
right up
phase.
there.
Right.
Yeah. And everything that we, as we move out from under the debt for the high school, is going to be shifted over to the fire station. So that's my 2 cents worth about what I've heard and meetings I've been in and discussions around space. And as I said, the best thing I would recommend in a practical way for us to get more space is for us to get behind the library's plan for a new space moving out of this building.
Okay. So, given that piece of information, well, what are your wishes? I mean, we could, it seems to me we have two options here. We could think that we might want to have a subcommittee developed. We can wait, think about that some more, wait until we have our brainstorming session with the Friends, then come back and revisit that.
That seems to me to be the most practical thing to do, to sort of get a little bit more ducks in a row about what we're looking to do and accomplish. Because what you're saying, some of what you're saying seems to me that it's going to be an awareness kind of thing to make people
Overlap.
aware, yes, that this is a concern of our
Yep.
board and that we are going to get behind this.
And maybe it could all fall under the awareness piece of things at this point, who knows? So, okay.
I think waiting makes sense until we've met with the Friends, see what they want. I know-
Nothing's going to happen fast with this.
No, it isn't.
That's the thing, we have endless time.
We do. And that's why I think this is one of the topics that we pushed toward the end. We all felt that awareness needed to be dealt with first, and so we're moving along, but I think we do have time also. So, is everyone okay with that plan? Then we will just, I mean, you agree with that too?
Yeah.
Everybody okay?
Yep.
All right, that's what we're going to do, then we'll just have our meeting, put it on the agenda
Wait and
again for
see.
June, I think.
Aren't they all?
Go from there.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Okay? Good. Thank you all. I'm thrilled, by the way, that the Friends came to us and asked if they could have a joint meeting to talk about this, because they apparently have some thoughts about space also, and they have some,
Concerns.
No, they
No.
want a senior center.
but they also have, I guess they've been saving money. I've heard that they have saved some money. And I don't know, all, but Friends are very helpful and very supportive of seniors in town, so we know that. And I think it's great that they want to collaborate with us.
I was very excited to be invited to this meeting,
Yeah.
to sit at the table with the school superintendent, head of the library, and Park and Rec, and Keith, and be treated as an equal need in terms of thinking about this building.
That's a giant leap forward.
Well, I have a lot of respect for Keith, and I think that he has all of the departments in mind. He has a good way of thinking things through, so.
Also like the idea of using a consultant so that the decision doesn't get made by someone who may have some bias,
Oh, yeah,
but rather it's an independent, impartial look.
that's great. All right, and as we move on to reports, unless it's something else, I don't want to tell anybody they can't say anything if they have something to say. Okay, as we move on to reports, I neglected to mention, and I meant to do it under announcements, but I neglected to let you know that Mary has agreed to, you'll notice that there's no longer an E on the agenda, and the communications part that Mary has done have been moved up to announcements, and if she feels that there's an item that she finds in a broadcaster, they're usually announcements, because she's sharing, factual information about something that somebody's doing somewhere else. She's going to be putting those in the announcement section, and she's not reporting at the end.
Good.
Right, Mary? So,
Right, and you mentioned the awareness group over here is more or less active in making the public aware of what's going on.
well, they are working on awareness on many fronts, yes, but they don't necessarily know what's going on in other towns, but then there's other ways of finding that out too, because Pam goes to directors' meetings and gets information from towns, and so anyway. So that's no longer on the agenda, just E is
Okay.
no longer there, okay? So let's move into the reports, and we have the budget report, and Bob is not here. Is there anything that we need to really pay attention to, Pam?
The only thing I have for you in Bob's absence is the fund report, which I printed out for everyone. Funds are doing fine. We are approaching the end of the year, and there's a lot of toing and froing in relationship to getting accounts taken care of. End of year for the town, the fiscal year ends June 30th.
Seems as though it went by awful fast this year. I
Boy,
don't
it
know.
does, doesn't it?
Any questions for Pam on that? We can always catch up with Bob next month, I think. I mean, we get this information as a courtesy so that we have a sense of things as far as money goes. Thank you for putting that in there. Director's monthly report.
So I have done a monthly report for you. I'd like to point out a few items. The first being that this agreement has now been made between MART, the Montechusett Area Regional Transit, and the Lowell Regional Transit, the LRTA, that we can carry people on the bus who live in other towns. And I don't know how familiar you are with the issue that we've had with this, but when we went to centralized dispatch, this was one of the things that we thought could happen without any problem. That since we had a central dispatcher, for example, as our bus would be going to Emerson and passing through Acton, Acton being a member of this Crosstown Connect with us, this consortium that we have, that we could pick up a person from Acton and take them to Emerson. And similarly, if the Emerson van was waiting down or the Acton van was waiting at Emerson to pick up an Acton person, and there was a Littleton person who became available, that they could jump on the bus as well and be brought back. Until this agreement was signed, that could not happen. MART and LRTA, well, actually, it was more MART than LRTA. MART, for example, would not allow us to pick up Boxborough people, even though they were also MART people. But Keith was able to iron out this agreement, and I'm going to be attending a meeting on Wednesday, in fact, to talk more about how we're going to manage this combined dispatching, with the idea that people now in other towns can ride on other people's vans.
How would they pay?
With money, the same old way.
Who gets the money?
That's part of the problem that MART had.
Right.
And that's actually, as far as I'm concerned, that's MART's problem, because I don't get that money.
Okay.
MART gets that money.
Okay.
So MART and Dispatch and LRTA are going to work that out amongst themselves. Personally, I think that this is a problem that can be solved. There's a variety of ways in which it could be done, but it clearly is their issue, not mine. So I point that out to you, that those of you who remember way back when we had our own dispatcher, which was just half a day, and we started in on this process of going to this regionalized dispatch, and how now we have dispatchers all day long that answer the phone, and the burden that that has taken off of our office. This is just more of that vision. And of course, my personal vision is that the next steps would be we get somebody to pay for some vans to move people from the train station to the businesses, and then make those vans available to us, but still working on that one. And I've heard nothing about the grant for the third van. So, the second thing you already know about, this is the, we received the funding for the veterinary service program, the $4,000. Those of you who were at town meeting saw that it was passed at town meeting, which was necessary for it to come into play. And so that's now in place for us. The Chinya grant opportunity I've already talked about. Congratulations to Jean for her representation for us. Third Thursday. So we signed up for Third Thursday this year, which is June 16th, July 21st, and August 18th, which means we'll have a table. And the awareness group, the awareness subcommittee has been talking about what kind of a presence we want to make known there. and how we want to handle that. I would like to extend to all the board members to please feel free to come by the table, and if you want to sit for a while and talk to people as they pass by, love to have you do that. The experience that we've had with it in the past, and I think Tina would agree with this, is that you just sit there and people come up and they ask you questions, or, you see people that you know and they chat about what's going on. It's just a way to make our presence known. So I invite everyone to be part of that.
We
Visibility.
get any goodies to hand out?
Well-
Maybe the Friends would provide us with some funds so we could pass out some goodies?
Well, we're going to offer blood pressure.
That's a goodie.
Are you talking like pens, or what are you talking about?
Yeah, anything. Any good idea? People like to go away with something they got from somewhere.
I'm
They
with you,
look at
Mary. I
it.
think you're right. Yep, I think you're right
They
on
look
that.
at it and they'll say, oh,
They love to pick up things to.
I'll bring candy.
Susan's favorite. Her signature dish. Well, that's not a
Well,
bad
it brings
idea.
people to the office, doesn't it?
It does.
I
It
feel
does.
that
It's not a bad
candy
idea.
store
It's
that
all a
used to do
question
that
of getting
all
the
time at
funding
my
for it.
job.
your wellness clinics or fairs that you had was wonderful down at the school, and all those,
They all
They
pass
pass-
out things,
they
right?
passed out.
Maybe our new brochures will be ready.
Hope so. We got the photos done, and we've got a mock-up, so. And then the last item on here is, we mentioned it last month, the Eagle Scout project to build the planters. And I don't know if you saw the planters down in the courtyard. They're very nice, high planters with wheels on them so that in the wintertime they can be stored inside to reduce the weathering on them. This was a real cooperative project. The Eagle Scout had them built. The Country Gardeners paid for the plants, which I went to pick up at Peg Larson's farm. Lovely herb plants and a few flowers. And then the Country Gardeners came in and planted everything. And now the social club has taken on the responsibility to do the watering.
Grand.
And I suggest if you go by, take a sniff of these because they smell fabulous. The plants smell fabulous. And the idea is for Gail then to use those.
She's already used some.
She's already used some.
She said
She put the thyme in the soup last
That's
night.
right, yes.
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing that the awareness committee should be writing an article about, because it's so cooperative between scouts and gardeners and COA.
That's a great idea.
It is a great
The
idea.
Independent did run a photo when Matt dropped off the planters that had Marge and I in it.
I happen to be
Saw
here.
that.
I saw that.
That was perfect timing on your part.
Yeah.
But it's one of those inter-community kinds of things that we're trying to build awareness, that we're here and these are the things we do.
Such a collaborative effort.
Well, we'll let you write it.
Yeah, thank you.
And then along those lines, and I mentioned it before, that the Littleton Community Farm, the Rotary agreed to buy 2 shares at the farm, which means that every week we'll get 2 boxes of fresh produce that will go to the diner and either be cooked as part of the lunch programs or distributed to seniors.
That's nice.
Yeah, very nice of the Rotary to do
yes.
that.
Is this on Great Road?
No, this is over here behind the Proudy,
Oh, okay.
Neff, on Neff property.
Okay.
The one you're thinking about on Great Road is the,
National Church, I think. isn't
yeah,
it?
Church
Gardens.
Meadows.
Church Meadows, yeah.
Right. They also, the community garden, or the community farm, Littleton Community Farm, did their own fundraising to buy shares which have been given to Tina to distribute to families within the community who,
Oh, how nice.
who are in need. So they've been very good to us. Nice to have,
Nothing like fresh vegetables, locally grown.
really.
Right.
That's another one of those cooperative and interactive things. And I have to say, having the diner back is so great. When Jennifer Stiff came from Minuteman Senior Services, I was reminded again by her that Gail is one of the few kitchen managers in COAs in the whole state that actually cooks. A lot of the COAs just get the meals in as catered meals, and they just go straight out exactly the way that they come in. And Gail and her set of volunteers do things like cooking pasta and doing extras, and of course our wonderful Thursday lunches.
It makes such a
Special
difference too, the vegetables.
It really does.
Oh, it makes a huge difference. We're very fortunate.
Yes.
We have a lot to be grateful for.
So then the rest of this is facts and figures, and I put a little historical perspective in here. If you look at the bottom of the first page, the April attendance, which does not include transportation, we had 1,190 visits from 256 individuals, unduplicated individuals, to within the month of April. If you look back to 2013, we had 879 visits and 186 visitors. It's numbers like this that help to convince the town as well how much we're growing and how much busier we are. And then the back has our transportation numbers, et cetera. Respectfully submitted.
Thank you. Very informative. Thank you, thank you. Tina, you're on. Would you like to have a seat up here so people can hear you?
Hi, well, as Pamela has already mentioned, we're taking the applications for the CSA, the Community Supported Agriculture applications for families, and for 2 seniors, 2 elders, which would be a half portion of the CSA share. And, so we've had some good interest there. It seems like I'm starting to hear about some interest on some people who are hearing about the veterinary fund, and they're expressing, a need for it, and grateful that it's there because they didn't qualify for the program over at the Neshoba Tech Veterinary Support Program, because the guidelines are a little different for both programs. We had the caregiver support group meeting last month, and we had a record number of caregivers. We had 22 people come, listen to Kitty O'Connor from Eckel, Morgan, and O'Connor speak on, legal aspects of dealing with people with diminished capacity. And so that was very well, received. And she'll be coming again in June, mid-June. Pamela has set up something in the evening that will be for the general public to attend. This Saturday will be the Day of Caring from the Council of Churches. They're full, they can't accept any more referrals. And I believe we're just about full with the Catholic Heart Work Camp that's coming June 20th to 23rd. We seem to have a record number of people. I think it's about 14 now. And I've been getting some help with the home visits and getting those applications processed so we can get them over towards the end of May. And
I think the Action Unlimited has been covering those articles, the last 2 that you mentioned.
oh, okay, I hadn't seen.
Yes, I
okay.
think so. I should have cut it out.
Oh, okay, I hadn't seen it in there, but we're full, so we're probably not going to be looking for more people for those, for those programs. Let's see. The Aspire program with the program at Devon's with the young adults with disabilities seems to be going well. It seems like the roses they brought last time were really pretty, and they're enjoying coming, to the point that it's a social event for them, and they've spoken to the diner about possibly on a Thursday with advance notice them staying and buying one of the Thursday lunches, which are, off the menu, off the Minuteman menu, and just that way, and they seem to really enjoy coming here.
Nice.
Okay, so.
The flowers were beautiful, you're
They
right.
really, yeah, it seemed like after Mother's Day, they must have had a lot of really good leftovers, and they donated them to the students, and they put them in the participants, and they put them into bouquets, which were really nice. Let's see, and I think that's it, unless anybody has any questions. I'll get that P.O. box for you for the Littleton Council of Churches. I used to know it, but that number's left me. Yeah.
One thing that's nice with the Council on Churches and the neighborhood supper is that oftentimes people will say, well, what can I give you for Christmas? And I'll say, well, make a donation to the neighborhood supper. And, because
Good thing, yeah.
we're purging, we don't need more stuff. And so donations to them are,
Something like that.
yeah, it's a really nice thing to do. My brother-in-law has done it for years for us.
Oh, that's nice, yeah.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Next, I'm going to say to our transportation fund here at the
That's right,
COA.
yes, that's another one,
And
yes.
our TRED fund, yeah, too.
Yep.
We have a
Oh,
lot
right,
of
there's
causes,
TRED,
yeah.
yes.
That's it.
We should have a little, that's something awareness can help people know that, that's another great thing.
She's the boss of the
Well, the awareness
awareness.
committee, yeah, it's another area that people just don't stop to think about that, I'm sure. They don't have, but if they see it, might think about it more. All right, I don't, oops, sorry.
Excuse me, telephone assistance, you've got 0, is that, are you okay, you're not?
No, it's not the Are You OK program, but Pamela and I are still trying to figure out if we can actually have one with the proper backup that you need to have one. When I go to an outreach meeting on Thursday, I'll mention it to some of the other outreach workers to see how they're implementing something like that.
I thought that the Are You OK program in the towns that you brought up were run by the police or the fire, which makes...
They were.
That makes so much more
Leominster
sense than
is the
us
one.
doing it.
The police did it
It's like a
in Leominster.
computerized voice, and it's...
Yeah, and
it's
you just don't have the time or the staff or the
Well,
anything.
we don't seem to have like the backup if there is something wrong.
Yes, then
And-
what do you
and-
do?
and-
Yeah.
And that would be the police. So I'll be with some larger towns too and see if that's what they're using with their police department,
Yeah.
the Are You
It
OK?
was Leominster that I read.
Leominster, okay, they're not at the meeting I go to, but I can easily find out,
Okay.
how they did that, okay.
There you go.
Okay, other discussion? All right, I'm not going to forget this time. May I have a vote?
Oh, we haven't
To
done
accept the
senior.
minutes. Oh, senior diner, I was, I'm so anxious. I didn't want to forget it.
in there.
Oh, my goodness, up there, and I'm like, I
I
can't
think it's more
forget.
important, bingo.
Forgive me, God, forgive
Are
me,
we
God.
making a fortune on bingo or not?
Things at the diner are picking up, and the Thursday program meal is very popular. That's a homemade soup and a sandwich is made here. And that program is run by the COA. That money goes to the COA. The money that's collected goes to pay for the next Thursday's, sandwich and contents and all that stuff, and any expenses. However, the soup is donated, and I was thinking that if there were people who would like to donate the soup, but don't want to make it, it's a big thing to make a soup for 25 or 30 people. But if they wanted to provide the ingredients, that Gail we'd be glad to cook it in the kitchen, make it up that Thursday
What
morning.
about just-
So, that could,
What about a Market Basket gift card? Cover the expenses of it.
But could you just donate like some canned goods or something? And then they could utilize it when they wanted it, like,
Tomato sauce, put canned goods, tomatoes.
well, it could be tomatoes, it could be corn, it could be,
we don't have a
pasta,
grocery
stuff.
cabinet,
No,
but
that's a loaves
the
and fishes.
ingredients for a pot of soup
Soup, yeah.
in one container.
I
Not a lot of
have never
storage,
eaten at
kind
the
of.
senior diner, and on Cinco de Mayo, I ate down there, and it was so good. So good. It really was. She did tacos, turkey tacos. They were wonderful.
I hear this week they're having Campbell's soup.
Campbell soup. And what is that?
Dan's making it.
She's making it next
You're
week.
making soup?
Campbell's tomato soup
I'll be there.
And it'll be grilled cheese sandwiches.
and grilled cheese sandwiches.
Oh, comfort food from your childhood.
So we had pea soup, I made pea soup. We had
Yes, it was excellent.
23 people that day.
Yeah.
Then yesterday, this past Thursday, Gail made a really great vegetable soup
Yep.
out of frozen vegetables that we had in the freezer. You know,
It was
the
very
vegetables
good.
are brought in,
Frozen is good.
fresh vegetables every week. And if there are extras that we don't have to cook, they go in the freezer. So she made a wonderful vegetable soup, adding onions and all that other stuff. And turnip, I had a great big turnip at home, so we cut that up and it all went in the soup. And she just had to buy,
Noodles?
no, she bought tuna fish and sandwich rolls and probably a few ingredients, chicken stock, I think. Although she made some at home, but she had some other chicken stock.
And the Thursday, $3 for lunch also pays for the salad on Fridays.
For the yes, I know, I was coming to that too.
Yeah.
The salad on Fridays has been going on for years and years and years, and it's come out of the COA budget. And so now, with that money coming in on Thursday, that pays for that too, so.
Oh, wonderful.
Fresh salad every Friday.
There's not a lot of storage space down there right now because the rest of the cabinets and other things that were going to be done aren't in place yet.
Pass this
So
to
there's not a
Pam.
huge amount, is there? Storage space in that kitchen? No. So,
But if someone is interested in providing canned goods for someone in need in the community, Tina does keep an emergency shelf stocked with tuna and things like that for people who come to the end of the month and they run out of money and they get in touch with her and say, I have need. The food pantry won't be open till the end of the week and I'm out of food. So people can
That's good to know.
give those things to Tina as well.
Tuna fish or canned meats or canned
Yeah.
chicken
I've got a lot of that at home that I need to get rid of,
or
so.
tomato sauce. So. Okay.
you all done? Are you done? I don't want to go.
Bingo
See?
is.
There we go.
Bingo is still bingo
At 1 o'clock.
at 1 o'clock, hopefully. There just seems to be a little time scheduling there that should be adjusted, but
Mary just passed me the article about Wellesley's $5.5 million senior center proposal, and I should point out that it's going to be done as a debt exclusion, which means that on top of the levy, you would pay additional taxes to cover the cost of it. And I think that's exactly the problem that we have here in Littleton, is that I don't think people will vote to raise taxes for a senior center.
They're spreading it out over 20 years, aren't they?
That's how a debt exclusion works.
Right, yeah.
We're just coming off of the one for the high school, and we're going to be starting on to the debt exclusion, the same umbrella for the library, or the fire department.
Well, there's always a good defense on the yes, and there's a good on the no side, so I gave it you both.
Thank you.
I move that we accept the reports as presented.
Thank you. Do I have a
I'll
second?
second it.
Barbara, second.
Were you done?
Yeah.
Oh.
Did your bingo thing.
Okay, motion has been presented and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all. Look at this. Don't forget to close the meeting.
Yeah.
Have fun. So we'll entertain a vote to close the meeting.
Adjourn.
Adjourn the meeting.
Accept all the reports.
I move that we close and adjourn the meeting.
Thank you, Susan.
Nothing.
Second. Mary Pickard, second.
No.
Roseanne. All those in favor?
Yeah, I did too.
Opposed? Anyone?
Yeah, I think I will.
All vote. Hey, voting to end the meeting.
Yes.
Adjourn, do you vote to adjourn?
Adjourn meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, Captain.
Alrighty, I think we're good to go. And look at this, I want everybody to make note. It's 3:50 PM for timing.
I think it's 2:50, isn't it?
I mean, 2:50.